If you're thinking about divorce, watch this first. Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt. For my free training on how to rebuild your marriage in 90 days, comment the word training and I'll send it to you. And I'll also include the link to it in the description. So if you're thinking about divorce, you want to pump the brakes and pause until you watch the rest of this video. I'm going to share 4 times not to get a divorce, and then 4 times when you should consider separation and divorce. The first time when you should not get a divorce is when you feel incompatible. Because all couples have major differences, and there's this myth in our culture that we're just going to be naturally compatible with our partner and we're going to drive off into the sunset. That's not reality. Most couples have major differences, and the key to compatibility is learning how to work with those differences. And the way you become more compatible is you learn to share power, strike compromises on those areas where you are different. Therefore, compatibility is a learned skill over time. You can become more compatible over time the more you're willing to make compromises on major areas of difference. The second reason not to get a divorce is because you have resentments. Resentments are inevitable. When you're in a long-term relationship, you're going to have resentments because your partner's not perfect. You're not perfect. They're going to hurt your feelings. You're going to hurt their feelings. And we're not trained on how to handle those situations well. So you're going to have resentments. Now, having resentments is no fun. And when you do have resentments, you want to address them. You want to resolve them. And this is why I have my ER Marriage Intensive, so couples can have support addressing their resentments, because nothing gets better in a relationship when you have resentments. To learn more about my ER Marriage Intensive, comment the word ER below and I'll send you the page, and I'll also include a link to it in the description. A third reason not to get a divorce is because you don't feel happy. Our culture has become obsessed with happiness. Everything is about pleasure. Everything is about feeling good. Everything is about happiness. Our ancestors were much more resilient and hardy than we are. We've become soft, and our culture just promotes me first, pleasure first, happiness first. Now, don't get me wrong. Happiness is important. You do want to feel satisfied. You do want to feel joyful in your relationship. However, if your commitment is based on how happy you feel, your commitment's going to be a yo-yo, because happiness comes and goes in relationships over time. The fourth reason not to get a divorce is because you don't feel in love. Think about how many times you've heard someone say, yeah, I just don't love her anymore, so I'm getting a divorce. Or I just don't love him anymore, so we're getting a divorce. Whether you feel in love or not should not determine if you get a divorce, because feeling in love comes and goes. All couples go through seasons. They start in summer, then they go to fall, then they go to winter. And those who work through winter and resolve their resentments and work at their relationship can go into spring. And spring is when you fall back in love. So couples can fall in and out of love multiple times during the duration of the relationship. And a lot of people think if we fall out of love, it's over. It's not over. You're just going through the normal seasons of marriage. So do not get a divorce just because you do not feel in love, because feeling in love can come back. And I'm walking proof of this. In my own relationship with my wife since 1999, we went through some really hard seasons where I did not feel in love anymore. I had a lot of resentments. My needs were not being met. I was not happy. And everything in me wanted to get a divorce, but I chose not to. And my wife chose not to. We reached out for support. We worked through our issues, and we became stronger, and we learned how to fall back in love. And we are happier now in our marriage than we ever have been. So I'm a living testimony that you can fall out of love and back in love with your partner. Now, the next 4 points are reasons that you should consider getting a separation and possibly even a divorce. The first reason to consider a separation is if your partner has been unfaithful and they refuse to cease contact with their lover. If that's the case, they are going to be continually tempted to re-cheat, and you are not going to be able to heal. The very first step of healing infidelity is zero contact with the affair person, because only then can your relationship slowly start to heal. So if your partner has cheated and they refuse to cease contact with that affair person, get a separation. A second reason to consider a separation is if your partner has an active addiction and they're not receiving treatment. If they are in denial and they're unwilling to seek help for their addiction, it's going to sabotage your relationship, because now you have 3 people in your marriage: you, your partner, and the addiction. A third reason to get a separation and possibly a divorce is abuse, whether it's emotional abuse, physical abuse, and especially if your partner is not willing to seek significant treatment to ensure it's never going to happen again. If they're resisting treatment, you definitely should get a separation and most likely a divorce. A fourth reason to consider a separation is if there's chronic neglect and your partner refuses to work on it. For example, let's say one of your top needs is emotional intimacy and your partner refuses to work at it. You keep bringing it up, you keep saying how important it is to you, and your partner dismisses it. They scoff at it. Another example might be quality time. You keep saying how important quality time is to you, how much you need quality time. And what's your partner do? They dismiss it. They refuse to work at it. Your concerns are falling on deaf ears. When that becomes a pattern, you need to tell your partner, we need to see a couples therapist or a couples coach because this is not okay. I keep bringing up my concern, my need, and it keeps getting dismissed. If they refuse that, if they refuse to see a couples therapist or a coach, then you need to get a separation. Because here's what happens. A lot of people fall asleep in their relationship over time and they become complacent. And they think, you'll never leave me, so why should I change for you? So they take you for granted. They dismiss your concerns. And that's not right. If you have a need, it's important for your partner to be responsive. They may not be an expert at meeting your need, but for them to be a good partner, they need to take your need seriously and work at it. And if they keep dismissing your need, that is neglect. And neglect falls under the umbrella of abuse. So if that's your situation, consider a separation, because a separation can be a wake-up call. It can send the signal that I mean business. I'm not going to continue to feel neglected here. You need to wake up and pay attention to my needs because they're important just like yours are important. And hopefully that separation will wake them up and it'll show them that you do mean business. And if they do not improve, then the next level might be divorce. So in summary, here's 4 times when you should not get a divorce. Number 1, when you feel incompatible. Number 2, when you have resentments. Number 3, when you don't feel happy. And number 4, when you don't feel in love. And here's 4 times to consider separation and possibly divorce. Number 1, when your partner has cheated and they won't cease contact with that person. Number 2, when they have an active addiction and they won't seek treatment. Number 3, when there's been emotional and or physical abuse. And number 4, when they chronically dismiss your needs and refuse to work at it. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about these guidelines and which ones you would add to or take away. If you found this helpful and you're listening on the podcast, be sure to leave a review and share this episode with one other person in your community today. Pay it forward. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.